All right, guys, Canto 24. We're on Canto 24 of Dante's Purgatorio. Our words did not slow down our steps, nor stride end speech. So on we went, talking apace like ships when driven by a favoring wind. And all those shades who looked like things twice dead wondered, the sockets of their eyes dug out as they looked on to see me there alive. And I, continuing my former theme, Statius's soul climbed slower than it would, perhaps by reason of another's need. But tell me, where's Picarda, if you know? And tell me, too, among those souls who gaze at me, are any that I ought to note? My sister, was she more, I do not know, in beauty than in goodness? Triumphs now, crowned on Olympian heights in happiness. This first, and then he said, since we're milked dry by fasting of the way that once we seemed, it's not forbidden that we each be named. And this is, he pointed out, is Giunta, Bona Giunta of Lucca, and further on, that face more rattled than are all the rest, held tight our holy church in his embrace. He came from Tours and purges by this fast Bolsena eels and flagons of Vernaccia. Then one by one he named me many more, and these it seemed were happy to be named. I got no I got no dark looks from them when they were. I saw there plying teeth on empty air, Ubaldan dalla Pilla, and that Boniface who pastured many with his castled crook. I saw Sir Marquis who had far more space to drink at Forley, being far less parched, a man who never felt he'd had his fill. But as our glance will scan around and prize one above all, so I with that Lucchese, seeming the keenest to be known by me. And he I heard was murmuring, I don't know, something, Gentuca, where he felt the wound of justice as it plucked and nibbled him. You seem, dear soul, to long to speak with me, so make me understand your sense, I said, and speaking satisfy the two of us. A woman's born, not yet grown up in dress, so he began, who will make my native place a joy for you, although men talk it down. You'll leave here carrying this prophecy, and if my murmurings made you mistake, then true events will make their meaning clear. But tell me, do I see the man who drew those new rhymes forth, whose opening line ran so, ladies who have intelligence of love, and I to him, I am just one who, when love breathes in me, takes note, and then goes on showing the meaning that's ordained within. Dear brother, or dear brother, now I see, he said, the knot that kept the brief Gitoni me as well from reaching to that sweet new style I hear of. I see how close behind the power that speaks your winged pens fly, transcribing what he says, which certainly our own pens never did. Strive as you might to see between our styles some greater difference, you'll not see it here. And then, as though content, he said no more. As birds that pass their winters by the Nile will rise at times and gather on the air, then fly more rapidly to form a line. So now the crowd of people who were there all turned their faces and increased their stride, light-footed, driven by desire, and thin, and then like someone tired of trotting on who lets the pack go by and takes his time until the heaving of his chest is done. Feresi, too, now left the holy flock. As these raced off, he followed in my track, saying, so when shall I see you again? How long I'll live, I answered, I don't know, but my return will not be sooner than desire already brings me to this shore. For that place where it falls to me to live grows day by day less meaty as to good and sets its mind on ruin and despair. That's right, he said, I see who's most to blame, dragged at a horse's tail towards the ditch where no one ever can be free of sin. That beast rampages faster with each step, accelerating always till it strikes and leaves his broken corpse and mangled mess. Those Willses, he fixed his eyes upon the stars, those Willses have little left to run till you see clear the things that I in words cannot declare. You stay behind, for time is precious here, coming along with you and keeping step. I in this realm already lose too much. Knights gallop out at times from charging troops, intending as they leave the rest behind to claim the honors of an opening duel. So off you went from us at greater pace, and I remained still traveling with those two who in the world were such great dignitaries. And when he'd gone so far ahead of us that eyesight strained to follow in his track, as did my mind to understand his words, there then appeared to me right branched and bright a second fruit tree, not so far from us, just there around the bend that we now turned. Beneath I saw a group that raised their hands and called towards the leaves, I don't know what, like silly, overeager little tots who plead although their target won't respond, but rather seeks to whet their appetite, dangling unhidden what they want aloft. Then off they went as though they changed their minds, and we ourselves arrived at that great tree which turned aside so many tears and prayers. Move further on and don't get drawn to that. There's higher up the tree that Eve once bit. This tree is raised from it and flourishes. Someone, I don't know who, among its sprigs spoke this. So Virgil, Statius, and myself closed ranks to pass by on the rising side. Recall those cursed ones, the voice went on, the centaurs, formed from cloud, who once, when gorged, fought against Theseus with doubled chests. Recall those Hebrews, softened so by drink that Gideon would not take them in his ranks when he swept down on Midian from the hills. So tightly pressed against the near-side verge we passed along, and heard how sins of greed were followed once by miserable rewards. Then broadening out, we found an empty road. 1,000 paces bore us on and more, each of us silent, each contemplative. And what are you three thinking as you go? A sudden voice said this, at which I shied in terror like an untamed animal. I raised my head to see who this might be, and in no furnace was there ever seen metal or glass that glowed as bright and red as now I saw one saying, if you wish to get up there, then here's where you must turn. All seeking peace are bound to take this path. The blazing face had robbed me of my sight, and so behind my teachers I went on, as someone will when led by what he hears. And as the breeze in May, first messenger of whitening dawn, is moved in fragrant waves, pregnant with grasses, greenery, and flowers, so here I sensed mid-brow wind touching me, and sensed the moving feathers of a wing that brought ambrosial senses to the air, and made me sense the words, the truly blessed are lit with so much grace that in their hearts a love of food fumes forth no false desire, esurient always for the good and true.